This is Dan Lawson with the Alliance for American Manufacturing. I'm visiting with Bill Upton out here in Canton, North Carolina. Bill was the high school principal here and also the superintendent until he retired. And how are you doing today, Bill?
Well, I've been retired about 5 years, and I want to stay busy, so I'm doing a lot of volunteer work, and I'm presently Haywood County Commissioner.
And as a commissioner and high school principal and superintendent, over the years you've probably seen a lot of changes here in Haywood County.
I've lived in Canton since probably 1976, so the big change I've seen is our mill here, Champion. When I first came, the odor was obvious, and really the water was very unclean. And since then, Champion has done a great job of cleaning up. And at the present time, I still live in Canton and really never noticed the mill. So Champion has been a good steward of our air and water supply here.
I heard recently that they had won a special award from the Sierra Club for their stewardship of the environment in this area. That's pretty impressive. Over the years, as a principal and superintendent, you must know the tax base for this town. The mill pays a lot in taxes. Of course, that helps with the school system, correct?
That's correct, and it gives us really an advantage with other school system. Our tax base from our mill here, it allows us to do things with our students that other locations cannot do.
And what about other manufacturing that has been in this area? What's happened to it?
Well, since I came here in '71, we've lost Daco, rubber. We lost shoe manufacturers, woodworking. We've lost mostly about every big manufacturing plant I can think of. And of course, Champion at one time was much larger. I think at one time we had 3,000 workers here. So it's probably down around 1,000 now. So. And I know technology is a huge part of that. It's gotten our mill smaller and more efficient.
Now you have relayed a little story about when you were growing up, and your parents both worked in the textile industry. And can you tell me that story?
Well, I guess it's one reason I like a mill town is I grew up in a mill town in Richmond County, and we had probably 10 or 12 big textile mills in Richmond County, which is about 75 miles east of Charlotte, North Carolina, on Highway 74. In 1952, both my parents were working at Saffy, the textile mill. My dad was a loom fixer, and my mother was a weaver. And something interesting, a sidelight on the weave room in the textile mill, you can talk normal voice and no one hears you, so that was quite amazing. But the mill closed in '52. My mother had to go back to school, and she's I guess would be in her 30s at the time. And my daddy had to find a job in a neighboring county about 60 miles away, working on the third shift. So kind of split the family up and made life a lot more difficult rather than the mill we had right there locally he could work at. And it was about 2,000 workers, so you had everyone searching for the same jobs, and that made it most difficult. So it did change, put more pressure on my parents to find a good living.
And what happened to the rest of the textile mills that were in that county?
Right now, I don't know of any that exists in Richmond County. Our county, Richmond County, is really struggling to make it. They have a high tax rate just to survive, whereas we in Haywood County have one of the lowest, and that's a good point, one of the lowest tax rates in the state. We're, out of 100 counties, we're 17th from the bottom as far as the low tax rate. And I know my own home county, has a high tax rate just to get enough money to operate.
Now, as school superintendent and principal, you must have saw the support that you received from not only the mill, but the mill workers, scholarship programs and volunteers that would come out. Could you expand upon that?
One thing I'd like to mention that the big part of being working or living in having a high school in a mill town, you have all your workers with the expertise that you don't have. You got your electricians, your plumbers, crane operators. In 1985, we built, if you notice, a new stadium over here. I guess it's really not new now, but it's 25 years old now. But with the help of then Champion and their workers, all I needed to do was get supplies to build buildings under the stadium. We came up with enough free labor from guys coming out of the mill to completely do all our buildings in that stadium, at that stadium that was presently staying, without spending additional money. So our money went a lot farther because of the volunteers that we have, and it's always been that way. If we needed something, the mill could help us, they would.
Now, if something was to happen here for a major layoff or worst case scenario, if because of market conditions, the mill had to take some massive downtime, what else is there in this area for the workers to find work at?
I don't know of anything now. I'm sure Ash will absorb a few, but I can see a lot of our people having to relocate, and the school population would go down. When you lose students from the state, you're also losing money, and then you also losing your tax base from the mill. So and then the surrounding counties are losing because they supply the mills with different products. So to me, it'd be devastating. We're talking about 1,000 students in school, and I could see 300 or 400 students in our high school. So it's.
Now, if you had the opportunity to talk to the people who are going to make decisions on these paper trade cases, which really, it's the core of the industry. The paper industry is what we're looking at. Not only is it an industry, but as you can see from this town, it's a way of life here. What would you tell them we need to do to make it so that the paper mills stay viable and the towns stay viable as well?
Well, I think there's probably a couple of things I would tell them. First of all, go out and find those locations, and I'm sure we have a lot of locations across this country other than my home county of Richmond County. I'm sure you could go down to Greenville, North Carolina, and find similar situations where textile mills and other mills have closed. Go look and see what it's done to community. To me, it breaks up your community. It breaks up that community spirit when all your people are having to go different places to work. And two, we need to be on. If you watch sports, whatever coach and team wants is a level playing field. And in manufacturing, that's what we want. We want a level playing field. We want to be able to compete globally, but yet, and we do if you put us on the same playing field with the same rules. We don't need to change the rules. That gets us in trouble.
Well, Bill, I really appreciate you coming out and talking to us today. Great conversation with you. I love hearing the stories of what happened back in the 50s and how we can relate it to what's happening today. It's almost deja vu happening all over again. I appreciate your time, and I hope we can make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.